You weren't sure how you ended up here, 5 months pregnant, married to Jungkook, and raising his daughter as your own. Life had a twisted sense of humor, didn't it? Bringing you back to the one person you had once convinced yourself you didn't need. It wasn't that you didn't care about Jungkook back then. In fact, part of you might have known how he felt. The way his gaze would linger on you a little too long, the way his hand would brush against yours, the way his voice would soften when he said your name. But at that time, your heart belonged to someone else. You were in love, or at least you thought you were. He made you feel wanted, made you believe you were enough. So when he proposed, you said yes without hesitation, choosing the life you thought would make you happy. Jungkook didn't stop you. He smiled at your engagement, congratulated you, and even attended the wedding. He stood at the back of the hall. His face was unreadable as you walked down the aisle, and after that, he slowly disappeared from your life. No more messages, no more quiet looks. You didn't question it. You were too wrapped up in the life you had chosen. But life had a cruel way of revealing the truth. The man you had married, the one you thought loved you, turned out to be a liar. He cheated repeatedly, and when you confronted him, he didn't even deny it. He looked you in the eye and told you that you had never been enough for him, that you were just a placeholder until something better came along. It broke you completely. You left him, cutting ties with everything that reminded you of him, and tried to rebuild yourself from the ashes of that betrayal. Jungkook moved on too, or at least you thought he had. He got married, but fate wasn't done with him either. His wife cheated on him, left him shattered, and disappeared, leaving him alone with their 3-year-old daughter, Hyun. By the time you crossed paths with Jungkook again, Hyun was 6. You had met by chance at a coffee shop. Hyun had scraped her knee while playing, and Jungkook had been frozen, panic flashing across his face. But you had reacted instantly. You knelt down, comforted Hyun, and held her hand as you cleaned the wound. Hyun clung to you after that, her small arms wrapping tightly around your neck as if you were already hers. Jungkook had watched it happen, the way Hyun attached herself to you like a missing puzzle piece, finally clicking into place. It scared him, and yet it was the most natural thing in the world. He didn't fight it. He let you in. It took you so much courage, so much time to decide whether you wanted to come back in his life. Jungkook never stopped loving you, and this time you didn't walk away. It was a quiet afternoon. You came back from your boutique early as you promised Hyun that you'll play with her as it was her day off from school. But when you saw a car parked in front of your house, your brows furrowed, but you weren't surprised. It was Yuna, Jungkook's best friend. She just called herself as his best friend, but in actually, they just have known each other since childhood. You didn't find them in the living room, so you walked towards Hyun's room, but before you opened the door, you heard them talking. You just stood outside, your hand unconsciously resting on your growing belly. Yuna's honeyed voice drifted through the slight open door. You know, sweetie, I'm really close to your mom. I think it would be nice if you called me mom too. You froze, your heart hammered painfully in your chest. But Wine is my mom, Hyun replied softly. Yuna's laugh was soft, but it dripped with anger. Oh honey, Wine isn't really your mom. Your real mom? She left. Hyun's voice was sharp as she cut her off. You peeked through the crack in the door and saw Hyun sitting cross-legged on the floor, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny. Her gaze was steady, too mature for an 8-year-old. You don't understand, I'm your real mom's friend. I know what's best for you, and honestly, Ryan is just someone your daddy married because he was lonely. He's his mistress, not your mother. You were about to step in when Hyun's small voice cut through the tension like a knife. Shut up. Yuna's face twisted. Excuse me? Hyun's eyes glinted dangerously, a reflection of Jungkook's intensity. Ryan is my mom. She texts me in every night. She makes my lunch. She helps me with my homework. She's the one who stays when I have nightmares. My real mom left. Ryan didn't. So don't come here and act like you know anything. And for your kind information, she's not a mistress. My dad is happy with her. He loves her. Yuna's mouth parted in shock, her gaze flicking towards the door as you stepped inside. Yuna, I think you have overstayed your welcome. Hyun ran to you and hugged your legs. Mom, Auntie Yuna is telling me that dad just loves you and you are here for him only. Once my baby sibling will be born, he'll start loving them more. Your jaw tightened as you looked at Yuna, who got a little nervous. Hyun, baby, can you go to your room for a bit? Hyun hesitated, but your hand gently brushed through her hair as you crouched down to meet her eyes. I promise I'll come to you soon. Just give me a moment with Auntie Yuna, okay? Hyun's lips quivered, but after a small nod, she turned and walked towards living room. The sound of her small footsteps fading down the hallway was the only noise left in the tense air. You turned towards Yuna. What the hell do you think you're doing? You asked. Your voice was low and sharp. Yuna's lips curled into a practiced smile. I was just talking to her. Children have questions, you know. I was only helping her understand the situation better. Understand the situation? You took a step closer, your eyes burning into hers. And what exactly were you helping her understand? That her father will stop loving her once the baby is born? That the only reason I'm in her life is because of Jungkook? Yuna's expression wavered for a brief second before she recovered. Well, isn't that the truth? You never cared about Jungkook when you were with your lover, and when he left you, or I would say found someone better, you came back acting all helpless and you knew Jungkook wouldn't be able to see you shattered, so he embraced you. You are really smart. Your jaw tightened, anger simmering beneath your calm exterior. Are you seriously proud of yourself right now? Yuna's smile didn't fade, just stating the facts. You took a step closer, your voice cold. You think stirring up insecurities in an 8-year-old make you clever? If you're so desperate for someone to call you mom, why don't you try finding a husband and having a kid of your own instead of trying to steal someone else's? Yuna's smile twitched. Don't act so high and mighty. Everyone knows you ran back to Jungkook when you had nowhere else to go. You let out a sharp laugh. You think you know everything, don't you? I didn't come back because I was desperate. I came back because fate gave me a second chance, and this time I didn't run. Yuna's face twisted in frustration. Jungkook doesn't deserve someone like you. Oh, believe me, you don't have to worry about that, and also from now on, don't try to come uninvited. I wouldn't want my daughter to face a creep like you when I'm away. Hannah scoffed. You are calling me a creep. Have you ever looked at yourself? Carrying his child like you belong here. But you know what? Mina left because she realized Jungkook would never love her the way she deserved, and that's because of you. She chose her happiness, and I think she did right. Yes, she did right by walking away without caring about leaving a 3-year-old behind. Anyways, it would be even better if you also leave and pay attention to my words. Never come uninvited. Yuna clenched her fist and left. Hyun hugged you. Mom, you crouched down to her level, caressing her hair. Sweetheart, you're dead and I love you so much and nothing will ever change that. She hugged you, wrapping her hands around your neck. I know and I love both of you. You smiled. Hyun ran into Jungkook's arms as soon as he came back home. He dropped his suitcase and lifted her in his arms. My princess. You also came there and he walked to you, placing a soft kiss to your forehead. How are you? You smiled and nodded. Welcome back. Appa, you know Yuna auntie came home today. Your heart ached because you still didn't able to forget those harsh words even though you pretended like they didn't hurt you. Oh really? Did you behave like a good girl? I did, but I think she needs to learn how to behave when she goes to someone's house. Jungkook looked at her confused, and then your expressions told something was off. Did she say something? She was forcing me to call her mom. She said my mom left because you were cheating her on with Vian mom. And she also said you'll stop loving me once my baby sibling will be born. Jungkook's hands clenched as he looked at you. What is she saying? Is that true, Vian? You didn't want him to be tensed about something like that. Jungkook, it's just... Vian, you let her say all that? You didn't say anything, but Hyun was quick. Mom put her in her place, Appa. She ran away from here. Mom is so savage. Jungkook realized you didn't want to talk about all this in front of Hyun. He took a deep breath, his arm still wrapped around Hyun as he crouched down to her eye level. His expression softened as he gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Baby, whatever Yuna said, none of it is true. Do you understand me? Hyun's eyes were wide, her lips trembled slightly, but she said... Jungkook cut in gently. She was wrong. I will never stop loving you no matter what happens. You are my baby girl. Nothing will ever change that. Hyun stared at him for a moment before slowly nodding. Good. Now listen, I'm going to talk to her, okay? Yes, Appa, she looked down on Mom. I don't want anyone to look down on Mom because she's not my real mother. Your heart melted seeing her unconditional and innocent love for you. Jungkook kissed the top of her head. No one will look down on Vian from now on. I'll make sure of that, okay? She nodded. Good. I need you to teach her a good lesson. She ruined my day. Jungkook's brows furrowed. What do you mean? Hyun crossed her arms, her little nose scrunching in frustration. Me and Mom planned to go to the park today, but after what Yuna auntie said, I didn't feel like going anymore. Jungkook's gaze flicked towards you, a guilty shadow crossing his eyes. I'm sorry, princess. Hyun pouted harder. Jungkook smiled and leaned closer, brushing his nose against hers. How about this? Tomorrow we'll go to the park together. You, me and Mom. Just the three of us. What do you say? Hyun's eyes brightened instantly. Really? She said excitedly. Really? Hyun squealed and threw her arms around Jungkook's neck. Yay, you're the best. I love you. Jungkook chuckled, holding her close for a moment before pulling back. Now go and play, okay? I even brought chocolates for you. Hyun's eyes widened. Chocolates? Where? Jungkook smiled and pulled out a small bag from his jacket pocket. Right here. Hyun's face lit up as she grabbed the bag eagerly. Thank you, Appa. Anything for my princess. Hyun leaned in and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek before running off towards her play area. Jungkook straightened up, his smile slowly fading as his eyes darkened. His gaze shifted towards you. He walked closer, cupping your cheek. Did she hurt you? You flashed a weak smile and shook your head, leaning into his touch. She's not that powerful to hurt me. He slowly pulled you in his embrace. I'm going to talk to her. What else did she say? Jungkook, it doesn't matter. He pulled back before looking at you. It matters to me. You hesitated, but you also wanted to clear the doubt that lingered. She implied that you cheated on Hyun's mom with me. Your voice lowered, that you left her because of me. Jungkook's expression hardened, his jaw flexed as his fists clenched at his sides. And you were just going to let it slide? What was I supposed to do? Cause a scene in front of Hyun? Although things were more than okay between you both were cheated on by your partners and left. I never cheated on Meena, but I also never gave her the part of me that you already owned. He swallowed hard. And maybe that's why it was so easy for her to walk away. Tears pricked your eyes as Jungkook's hand slid down to your belly, his palm resting against the small swell. I never thought I'll ever get to be with you. I let you go and wish for your happiness with the partner you chose for yourself, but I guess fate had other plans. Do you know why it's different this time? You shook your head. Because with you, there's nothing missing, no emptiness, no second thoughts. Your lips trembled. Jungkook, with you I'm whole. Tears slipped down your cheeks as his hand curved your face, his thumb brushing them away. We were both broken, Ryan. You were shattered by him. I was left empty by her. But somehow, he leaned in, pressing his forehead to yours. We found each other again. Your hand slid up his chest, your fingers curling into the fabric of his shirt. Do you really think it's fate? Jungkook smiled faintly. If it's not, I don't care. His hand moved back to your belly because this, you, Hyun, and this little one, this is my reality now, my family. A tear slipped down your cheek as you leaned into his touch. I'm scared. Jungkook's gaze softened. Of what? That one day you'll wake up and regret this. Jungkook's arms wrapped around you, pulling you flush against his chest. Not possible. You sighed, your cheeks pressing against his chest as his hand rubbed slow circles on your back. We have already been through the worst. We survived it together. You closed your eyes, feeling the steady beat of his heart beneath your ear. Tomorrow, we'll go to the park with Hyun. We'll sit on the grass and I'll probably complain about my back hurting. Hyun will make us chase after her until we are both breathless. And when we come back home, we'll sit on the couch, all three of us, and we'll talk about names for this little one. He rubbed your belly gently. Your eyes fluttered shut as his words painted the image so clearly in your mind. And that's it. That's our life. No one else gets to have a say in it. Your arms wrapped around his waist as you sank into his warmth. I want that. Jungkook smiled against your hair. It's already ours. You tilted your head up, your eyes meeting his gaze softened and he leaned down, pressing his lips against yours. The kiss was slow, tender, a quiet reassurance that no words could match. When he pulled back, his hand brushed through your hair. Come to bed? You smile faintly. It's still early and Hyun is still awake. Jungkook's eyes darkened with quiet mischief. Not for what I have in mind, and Hyun is grown up now, she'll sleep. Your cheeks flushed as he took your hand and led you down the hallway. His hand settled on the small of your back as you followed him towards your shared room, warmth blooming in your chest. It didn't matter what Yuna had said, it didn't matter what anyone thought. This life, this family was yours and no one could take it away.